Play that. Three, two.
Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing. But it's a thing we want you tuned into every Saturday afternoon. I'm Elson McGee, your host, and I'm here doing the same thing I've been trying to do ever since we started the show back in 2004. Trying to make sense out of a senseless situation called the plight of veterans in the USA and the USA with the plight of veterans. Back here today, Saturday, April Fool Day. I was looking for somebody to do it to me, but my children ain't at home, so I'm good. But Tony, you're back, brother. Thank you for being back here. I know you was getting a tree out your house last week.
Yeah.
So how did that go?
It went well. It went well.
Good.
Yeah, most of the repair work is done.
Good.
Yep.
And then we got Curtis back with us. Woo. Warrior married to his wife and PTSD. Well, man, thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me back.
You know, I've been
Welcome,
talking, been talking about you all week, you know, because this is, I didn't bring my book back because I wanted, you know, I want to kind of focus on what you're doing right now with your book.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think it's a, you know, well, I think you're standing on my shoulders doing the work that I couldn't do. You went into details and into angles that I wasn't equipped to do. I got caught up with your reel. You know, I want you to talk about this, but I mean, you laughing at me, but
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm laughing from the phone message. You know, I took a nap and I'm gonna talk about the ribs. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have ribs when we do the show today. And then when I called him, he said, no, the title, my rib, is the first chapter of the book. You know, of a warrior married to his wife with PTSD. And God wanted me to start off with the people who helped me out. My ex-wife, she was there through thick and thin, but then, you know, her shield started getting thinner and thinner because she couldn't take it now. She was receiving the PTSD symptoms that I had, the sleep apnea and stuff like that. So, and she didn't, because she's a civilian, so she don't know how to gravitate to it. And you know, when you have your breaking point, you just be like, you know.
know the impact, but we don't want to communicate the impact.
I didn't know. Like I told you earlier, my brother had to call me, and he told me, he said, you left the message on my phone, and he played it back. He said, man, you know, you need to get somebody to you know, to sit down and talk to you. My brother Akil in New York. And I think I got mad because he didn't pick the phone up, and I was going through some stuff, and the conversation was rough. Yeah, it was bad. It wasn't a good conversation. You know, and I was like, when I heard it, I was like, whew. I said, man, that was me. And I cried about it. I was like, man, I said, so this is how people see me, a scary person, you know, like a monster. But again, when we down in the war zone, man, man, y'all doing a good job. Hoorah, you know, hoorah, and all this. And then we come back home, okay, what else y'all want us to do? We already gave you your party. What else we need to do for you? And it's like, we deserve the treatment because we raised our right hands because you guys didn't want to go down there. We went down. If it wasn't for us, we'd be speaking another language right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you know, I want to turn to this because I think this is more, I talk more about the combat that I was in Vietnam. You talk about the combat that you was in with relationships. With, you know, you know, the emotional stuff that you take into the relationship, the PTSD symptoms, and not knowing triggers, you know.
And see, I'm glad you said, because people ask me all the time, well, do you get PTSD from the war zone? I said, no, you get it before you go to the war zone because you're looking at, okay, who's going to take care of the house? You know, the kid's going to be all right. You know, they would say, don't send bad news down range because we're concentrating on our mission. But, you know, back in our minds, our mission is back home as well. So we have our plate is full. So we're thinking about things 24/7. You know, the kids are sick. I wish I was there. The first steps, the birthdays, the anniversaries. So we're human. We're not robots. So we're going to think about stuff back home as well.
Now, see, one of the things that with PTSD, the nation only recognized it in 1980. I mean, really, in 1980, the USA finally recognized that in combat at that point, this, you know, combat situation, they recognized PTSD. But they didn't really embrace it until 9/11, when the nation had an opportunity to experience the traumatization of violence, the level of violence that we experienced.
So we experienced in the war zone. It came here to our country.
It came to our country.
Came to the front door.
What happened after that, right now today, PTSD is the most diagnosed mental disorder in America. It was just recognized in 1980.
Yeah.
But now, one of the things that we haven't focused on with the PTSD as much as I think we should is the victim, which is us, and how we display that PTSD. How do we display it? You did an excellent job in your book. That's why I said
Thank you.
I want to do my rib. I want to talk about my rib because how do you you know, here's you dealing with somebody that's a wife, that's a mate. This is different from dealing with a buddy or a person on the job, even with a child, because that person has many roles in your life. And, you know, your wife showed the nurturing that it's absolutely necessary dealing with an individual with PTSD.
True.
We don't want to ask for that kind of nurturing. And sometimes, if you got some other trigger in the environment, it deflects that nurturing. And I know for a fact that I can be deflected, triggered, and my paranoia kicks in. I'm scared of my mate. I'm not trusting anybody. So how did you?
I went through those. Like, oh, so you're not on my team today. You know, so what's that about? And then during that time, when I wrote the book, I was going through the benefit trial with the VA and the building on top, the BVA. I had my benefits and they took it away from me, like I told you last Saturday, because they said because of your celebrity status, you don't speak like you have PTSD. I was a gentleman back in 2012, December 2012. I went to Georgia Power and paid everybody light bill for the holidays, and got with T.I. and Tiny, and I did some things with them, and I made the news, headline news, and they didn't like that. So I'm like, well, this is good for you guys. This is good for my family, so they can see, okay, it's okay for us to go in harm's way and protect people down in the war zone, but you mean I can't come back to my own country and pay somebody's light bills? That's two different, it's the same thing, but it's okay to do it in another country, but it's not good to pay somebody's light bill for the holidays, showing that, your selflessness, which is on my dog tags. It's just human.
Well, see, now, I look at it in a different way. I think, I'm just going to say it like I feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the modality being built around racism,
Mm-hmm.
more than anything,
Mm-hmm.
they fail to understand that just because you got PTSD, you don't lose your intellect.
Mm-hmm.
You don't use your intelligence.
Yeah.
And you don't use your capacity to function. If we did, John McCain would have never became senator.
That's right.
Matt Cleveland would have never became over VA.
Yeah.
So what we have is something that we really need to focus in on when we're talking about relationships, so that our people will understand that the triggering of that disorder. And I don't want to say disorder, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to look at myself as being crazy.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's how I wrote the book that way, because I don't want them to be like that we're a disgruntled group. Mm-hmm. We're not a disgruntled group. Mm-hmm. When we're proud, we're tough, we're strong, determined. Mm-hmm. Again, when we went in harm's way, mm-hmm. we was just big old heroes with an S on our chest. Mm-hmm. But then when we come back home, you have to prove that you was in a war zone and that you deserve these benefits. What you mean deserve? When you go to work every day at the White House, Congress, y'all throw paper clips at each other and get a paycheck. That's not helping us.
Well, see what happens if we don't communicate this issue the way we're communicating it now.
Mm-hmm.
The VA has this tendency to respond to what its modality tells it.
Mm-hmm.
And, they look at you as a black person with PTSD. Well, you're supposed to be, your hygiene's supposed to be gone. You're not supposed to be.
You're supposed to be homeless and all that.
All of this
and smelling bad.
And that is a racist connote to the actuality of PTSD.
Yeah. So
it's complicated when we go back into the community, because we got all of these interferes. I'm on guard duty all the time.
I call it tennis. You're looking back and forth like this.
Yeah, I'm on guard duty because I'm trying to shield this PTSD. I want everybody to see me as being normal.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something in the environment that triggers that,
it's going to show.
It shows off. And then now I'm sort of embarrassed because somebody done seen something that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So they relating to that rather than the fact that I have a disorder that was brought on by a traumatic experience in my military service.
Mm-hmm.
So the VA is getting away with even downplaying it. With mine, they just say, "Well, you look pretty good.
Yeah.
You dress nice, so you all right. You got wounded in combat, but you experience a little anxiety."
Yeah, you wrote a book and all this, but like you said, when Billy and Susie write country songs and write books,
it's a different thing.
It's a different story.
Their PTSD, John McCain, and this is something I used to get kind of upset with John about, and I love John McCain. I used to get upset with Max Cleveland because they did not communicate to the community the PTSD. Even though, if you remember that John McCain had a lot of problems in the Republican Party because of his PTSD.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm to that. I want to switch bases a little bit because I want to go back to show you how racism has compound PTSD in our own way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a paralegal, so I do cases. I do claims. I don't work no claim I can't win. Because every claim I take, I work to win. Tracy's in the audience with us today. Now, Tracy is a victim of PTSD, but he was an officer in the military. He was actually an officer in the U.S. military when they was first integrating it. Now, he gave an honorable military service. He had to endure all the racism of his military service, and then he came out of the military with PTSD. He gets to the VA. You got PTSD. They give him a rating that, to me, insult not only his PTSD, but his service.
But his service to the country.
And that's the racism that we have to focus on when we're doing claims. You know, we some kind of way we have to get these people that's at VA to read the whole record, to embrace that military experience so that they can do right by the claims. But now, still,
but see what they told
my
me.
real. I want to know what kind of antidote. What can we do to change that story? I can't tell the story. I'm gonna let you tell.
Okay.
I read it and I almost cried. I mean, I was happy and you know it got me in all kind of emotional ways because I got PTSD. So I could relate.
So you felt a piece of that in your heart. That hey, this is he's talking about me.
He's talking about me.
He's an older generation. I mean, older generation. And I'm the Vietnam War veteran. But man, this is identical to my book.
My book.
Yeah.
Like you talking about me.
Yeah. And what it is I tell every veteran, bring your spouse with you, your girlfriend, bring them because they're gonna help you get your benefits. Because you go in there by yourself, they don't listen to you. They look at your folder, and before you already come in there, you're in there 5-10 minutes and you out. And so like you were saying, they read everything. They said they skim. They looking for certain words. So I put in the book, who, what, when, where, why. I said, you go to any court with a who, what, when, where, why. You answered everything. Well, you didn't do your paperwork right for post-traumatic stress disorder. What do you mean that? I didn't know it was a right or wrong way to do your paperwork for a disorder that you have. My disorder is different than yours, but and yours.
One of the things that we have to face, PTSD is a legislative definition. And that legislative definition, that's what they're looking for. You know, basically with any claim, not just PTSD, you only got 3 elements to a claim.
That's it.
It's 3 elements.
3.
Once you meet those elements, the VA is supposed to do what's right. But we know that's a word.
Yeah.
I read the destruction of your relationship. That my relationship was destroyed with 40 years earlier. 40 years earlier by the same enemy.
But you know,
PTSD. I got to get you to talk about this. Not the VA.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Not the VA, because the VA can't fix this.
Oh no.
What can we do? What can we do? What can we communicate as veterans to younger veterans, to people that got family in the military that might incur PTSD? Because I mean, I saw the effort.
Yeah.
That you and your wife was making to make a beautiful life together. And I could see the enemy in there. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
see
it's-
myself.
it's-
I
it's-
see
yeah.
myself in there,
Yeah.
you know. So I want to be able, because I couldn't write that.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through. I couldn't. I couldn't. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes you can't tell the story. Somebody else got to
Somebody
tell.
got to yeah.
I can't remember how many times I cried because I couldn't get it together with my mate. I couldn't get her to understand my PTSD because I couldn't explain it without getting hyperactive. You know, without my voice getting all up. Everybody thinking I'm hollering at them.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And so I want you to talk about that because you know.
Yeah.
You suffered the destruction, brother, but you came out willing to come into the community and talk about it, to tell the story. So I want you to tell them, how can we focus on this issue?
When that happens right there, like my ex-wife, she used to like just keep hitting me. Well, what's going on with this? What's going on? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it right now. And sometimes she would push, or a spouse would push, or a girlfriend or boyfriend would push the issue, and
They don't
you don't understand, because I'm like, I took a lot of pictures downrange. There's some pictures in the book, and I said, you don't want to know the real Curtis Butler III. And one of the doctors told her the same thing. Said, no, you don't. It'll scare you. But she wanted to go in deep waters, and I wouldn't take her. And from then, her family was saying, well, how come he's not working? And he's like, well, he's fighting for his benefits because he's unemployable. And civilians, they don't know about unemployable, so they don't know. So they're like, oh, he's a bum, or he's just sitting around the house, feeling sorry. And when you got a civilian wife, how does she answer those questions that she don't have the answer to? So it kind of put her in a bad predicament as well. So it's very hard. You can pray and pray and pray, but like I said, once that shield, the protection is over with.
Well, see, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things that I said it often, the military does an exceptional job of preparing us to go to war. But does it prepare us to leave that war area
and come back home?
The other thing the military doesn't do, it doesn't prepare our families.
No, it don't.
They are totally unaware of what has happened during the 4, 6, 8, even 20 years that person has been basically in their care. And all of a sudden, now they're out, and you're dealing with someone you thought you knew.
It's not the same person.
It's not the same.
not the same
a
person.
totally different person.
And
there you are, totally blindsided by who is and what. Not who. What is this thing that's in my home right now?
And I asked the government in the book, I said, when we're in the war zone, I said we should have people, doctors and physicians, preparing our family members back home while we're away, so that when we come back home, it'll be an easier transition. I said sometimes when we go on the base, okay, when we come back, don't let us go home right away. Let the family, see you, hey, hug you. Okay, daddy's home, so. Okay, now they're gonna be evaluated for 30, 45 days.
Okay,
but you can come see them on the base.
Yep.
They can't leave the base.
Okay,
almost like a quarantine.
Right. Yes.
Now, quarantine is good for you. It's good for me. It would have been good for me.
Yeah.
But what about my rib? What can we do? What can we say? Because one time my sister, my baby sister, she's deceased now. She told me to get over it.
That's the worst thing you tell a veteran, man.
Yeah.
You just put the nail in the coffin, man.
Anybody.
Anybody.
This was my baby sister.
Yeah.
Listen, she was trying to be protected because she saw what I was going through, and I put
that shield, that wall.
But it didn't help her.
No.
I'm her big brother, so she's concerned with this I know business. What's going on with him? And especially when he fly off the, you had to, leave me alone. I'm gone. And the government ain't gonna do it unless we compel them to do it. We know now because of us, they are doing some intervention with some people. Not enough.
Yeah, not enough.
Not enough. That's coming out, but the wives, the family members, they are still left out of the loop. You said something earlier. We got to find a way.
We got to find a way.
We got to find a way. Now the government is not going to do it until we compel them to do it.
Yeah.
Because see, just as much as that hurt us when we lose those relationships, it hurt them more.
Oh yeah,
it hurt them more. And they not gonna get no benefits
because they're in the dark.
Yeah,
Right. Yes.
They're in the dark.
Totally.
They don't know what's going on. And I told one day I was setting up pictures for the book, and I said I'm gonna show you. I showed her some of the pictures that they were bad, but it wasn't that bad. And I showed her, and she looked and. She did like this, and she put her hands over my eyes like this. She's like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I'm like, I said, "This is." I just gave her just a little taste, and then she's like, she said, "Turn it off."
Yeah.
And I said, that's just a little taste." But I said, I don't want to scare you where you're like, "Oh man, oh my gosh, he might do something to us," and it's not like that. And I put in the book that we need. The family need counseling 24/7. We don't need it just once a month. It need to be long term. But like you're saying, the government, they're not going to put dollars on it because it don't put no money in their pocket.
Exactly.
Because when the veteran don't get their benefits, and I put a link in the book, it said in the book when the veteran doesn't get their benefits, they get bonuses off of that. They get big bonuses over there. Go look at the VA, go to the regional office, and look in the parking lot. Look in the employees' parking lot.
Yeah, really.
Go to the VA hospital. Anyone. El Paso, Texas, California.
See now, what I want to say this as a former VA employee. Let me say this. There is no accountability for your work.
No, it's not.
So we have to not we look at VA because that's our watering hole, but we have to look at what controls the VA, and that's Congress.
That's Congress.
And we need to make sure that we are directing the attention to the place we can get the most out of.
Okay.
And we can get the most out of Congress if they know we ain't accepting it no more. We tired of. I don't want to read another book like this from my grandson. I don't want another generation of veterans to be telling the same story, man.
Another one, yeah.
It's
redundant. It's one. When I was homeless, I sent Bishop here. I sent him the video of me speaking at an event with all veterans in Clayton County, and I raised my right hand up, and I said, "How many people are homeless?" Yeah. Okay. How many people did security for the President of the United States and still end up homeless? And they looking like, so how many people eat out of trash can? My hand stayed up. I said, I had my benefits taken from me for 78 months. I said, I can't get that time back again. And I told him, I said, I had 15 notice of disagreements, 1 RCOM on what I did in the war zone. When I was in court, my attorney said, they didn't even look at it.
Really?
Well, I mean,
and I was on a suicide mission, but I talk about the suicide of the Marine that took her life and her family life here in Georgia when she went to the VA, and they said nothing was wrong with her. But then when she did that, she committed suicide. Oh, she had PTSD. She had this and that and other sexual trauma. And again, I asked the federal judge, why nobody went to jail? But if we lied on our medical records to get money, we're going to the federal penitentiary. So why isn't it? Why is it?
Well,
different?
It's different because of us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep saying it because
Yeah, it is.
I want to know, do veterans' votes matter?
Yeah.
If it don't matter to us, it ain't
It's
gonna
not
matter
gonna
to
matter.
them.
It's not gonna matter to them.
We got to stop looking at the problem and not thinking that we don't have a solution.
Yeah, we got a
You know,
solution.
I was listening at a congressman just recently after the school shooting in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. About the AR.
Yeah,
He didn't want to talk about
he
it.
didn't want to talk about it
Because he getting that money from the
Yes.
But we keep electing,
and we keep reelecting them.
keep
Exactly.
electing
And that's
these
why they
folks.
keep doing it.
This is why I'm asking veterans all over this country right
Yeah.
now: do our votes matter, or do our children matter to us?
But with a lot of the veterans, when they get paid on the first, they forget about everybody else. See, they forget about their dog tag, what it says on it, selfless service.
Yeah.
You know, never leave a fallen comrade. But until they fall down, now hey man, can you help me? Okay, but again,
Yeah.
do you treat yourself as you treat your neighbor, like the Bible said? And I stated last week, I said, if they're not about their father's business, they need to be out. They need to be out doing something else because, you know, our father's business don't mean that we have homeless, displaced veterans.
No.
No.
Yeah.
You know, that is not so. And
No veteran should be experiencing any lack.
none of this.
Lack
None of this.
whatsoever.
Yes.
Even if you got, I put in the book, and I said to my cousin on Cool's father's side, Robert Cool from Cool and the Gang.
Okay.
And I put on there Judge Greg Mathis. I said, there's soldiers out here that have bad conduct discharges as well. They just didn't walk in the military and got that. It's their environment. Okay, can you help me to see who I will go to see if they can start getting at least medical attention? You just don't put a time bomb out in the street and then be like,
Well,
there
see,
you go.
Yeah.
one of the things
Especially
that
after you created that time bomb.
Thank you.
You're responsible for what you create.
But a lot of them say
now when I thank you for saying that. Let me say, they are no more responsible than we hold them responsible for.
That's right.
And the issue
That's why they do what they do.
The issue with us right now, veterans, we're too laid back. You know, we'll do a lot of communicating, but we don't do a lot of action.
None.
What we're doing, I want to kind of shift a little bit right here. What
Okay.
we're doing in Atlanta, and we've been meeting up with all kind of opposition from city council member, one member,
Yeah.
one member that stopped the memorial from being put in Piedmont Park last year. This year, they have so far spent over $3 million in parks, but didn't look back at our project. That shows me that the politicians, the people that we have elected to run our government, don't care anything about us at all. Veterans service don't mean anything to
don't.
them. They say thank you for your service, and they're trying to get you out of the way.
But the thing is,
What-
what are they thanking us for?
Well, they thanking us for what they think was our service. But what we're doing here in Atlanta, and we're gonna do it, whether one wanted or not, we're gonna still do. We building a memorial for the 246 young men from Fulton County, Georgia, that were killed in Vietnam. I know that was 50 years ago, but what the memorial is designed for two things: to give honor to those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms that we enjoy in this country every day, and to add value and appreciation to military service for all generations.
Yes.
Yes.
We got to understand, veterans, we're the smallest population in the United States. But we are the most influential, whether we realize it or not. So we got to recognize who we are as soldiers, as warriors. We went to war for this democracy. Now we are watching people tear it up.
Yeah.
And we're not talking to our veterans in Margaret Taylor Greene's district.
Yeah.
She radicalizing them rather than them sticking to what they serve for.
Yeah.
And what is happening, they are putting millions of dollars into homelessness, and ain't nobody getting moved off the streets.
None.
So we got to do something very different, very radical. What we're doing with the memorial, we're just not building a memorial in the park. We're going into community centers, libraries. We're gonna make sure that warrior married to his wife is in every library in Fulton County. You know, we just got to make sure of that, because we got to make knowledge accessible to the community.
Yes.
You know, we have to make knowledge accessible to the community.
That way they're not scared of us, and they would welcome us into the community a little bit better.
A whole lot better.
Yeah.
Because what will be happening, we will have elected people that understand that here's a person that have been in a war zone.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is there be trauma, we come home with the same kind of warrior mentality that we had in the war zone.
Yeah.
And as a result, you know, during the first years of recognition of PTSD, you know, they used it as a fear factor because some of the veterans was killing their families.
Yeah.
You know, whole families. They just went off and just killed their families. We not have took a lesson from that. We have not understood that this is our country. We serve for it like nobody else serves. We should make sure that those that are elected to governments on all levels are doing what they're supposed to do the way we did what we were supposed to do.
Because they held us accountable. We need to hold them accountable.
Hold them accountable.
That's right.
Right now, I'm going to tell you, and I don't know not one veteran that went through basic training that was issued a weapon before they learned how to handle it.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
But you can go buy one.
No license.
No
just
license.
Carry. Just carry.
Just total carry.
And shoot.
Yeah.
Do veterans votes matter? We got to make it matter.
Yeah, we have
and
to.
This, I think I might be naive. I'm a little naive, but I think the kind of conversation that we have in here, and that we're having, and that you're doing in the community, gonna make a difference. And I want to be, you know, we're gonna be back here next Saturday doing the same thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Until it gets
Yeah.
the message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until they get the message. And listen, because we need to show up downtown in front of that Golden Dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tell them people down there, I don't want no war weapons in my community.
Yeah.
No more.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason to have an AR-15. People don't realize what an AR-15 will do to your body, man. And then it hit
What
that
we
person,
do.
and then it go through the wall, and then you done kill a little
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Man,
Well, I done had
whew.
friends and families get killed in the violence in this community. I'm a Grady baby, and
Yeah.
you know, every day I wake up in my hometown, mothers are crying. They're crying because their children are being shot down in the streets. Where this is not a war zone. This is not Vietnam, but it feel like it because I don't want to go to the store.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to
Yeah.
close
I know,
this out
I
now,
know.
so we're getting close to it.
Yeah, we're talking about the damage that an AR-15 does.
Yeah.
We may not have to show the public what it does. We need to show these state representatives.
Yeah.
They have no idea
Yeah.
of how much that, and they should be.
This-
they should be forced to sit, and this is
Yeah.
what happens to a body
Yeah.
when something like that.
Put a
happens.
body armor on a dummy
Right.
and stand there and watch
Yes.
from 10 feet, 5
Well, let
feet.
me say this before y'all do that. You got to make sure that you pan them first because they done been
Yeah,
bought out.
they ain't gonna they're not gonna come for free.
That's
you
right.
you gotta make some ribs and some hot dogs and some burgers, man, because they're not coming for free.
Right. Yes.
They're not gonna come for free, and you know what? And that's a shame. Why
Wait a minute, what are we doing?
Have we?
did we go over the time?
Oh,
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Curtis, I hope you're coming back, man. We got to go through the book.
I'll be back.
I mean,
Yeah.
because right now I'm in this move where we need to teach the community.
Yeah.
And I think and I'm gonna call Morocco. I know he's watching. He got a book. You know, we're gonna start trying to get authors.
Yeah.
Because I think that we are in a predicament where we're ready to teach, tell and teach.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that we can, in the process, we can create an army of volunteers in our community to make a difference. And we got the platform to do it.
Yes, we do.
You know, we got the resources already there, and all we got to do is get the wheel. the will to make a difference.
Yeah. We already have the who, what, when, where, why.
Yeah, right.
We have
Yeah,
that. And so
yeah.
once you have that, everybody else, will fall right in place.
All right in place.
Yeah.
So we got to work on it, Tony.
You were talking about community centers. These are the things we want to do before a young man goes in the military.
Yeah.
Let him know
Yeah.
what all the ramifications of being in the military, and not just him, his family.
His family, yeah.
Because he's got to come back.
He gotta come
to
back
them.
home,
And
yeah.
now they need to be aware of the fact
Yeah.
of what can happen in a war. What can happen to an individual, or just happen to an individual in military service. You don't have to go into
Yeah.
war to experience
Yeah.
a total change in
Yeah.
your personality and life while being in the military.
And also, what I'm doing is I'm getting with I got with the Stonecrest mayor, Ms. Jasmine. I talked to Sheriff Melody Maddox, good friend of mine, and I'm getting with Henry County also. And I talked to one of the judges there. We go to church together, and her husband is a commissioner. And I'm looking at seeing that getting this book into the veterans courts. Because they need that in there.
Yeah.
They need that in
I'm
there.
really glad about I've been able to help with the veteran courts. I'm hoping that they will become a little bit more aggressive in terms
Yes.
of dealing with military types that are coming into the courtrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody goes into the military to come out and go to jail.
No.
You need to think. I mean, you go in the military to step up.
You step your game up.
Yeah.
Step your game up in society. When we got young people coming out of the military getting into trouble, the U.S. military and the VA should be holding town hall meetings in those communities.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they
I
should
agree.
be taking responsibility for what they have created.
Yeah.
Because you got to realize, 17, 18, 19 years, we're still developing mentally.
Yeah.
And yet we are trained, and so now we are locked into a belief system and a regiment, and nothing happens when that regiment is broken.
Because the first thing they say is, "Oh, it's not in my community." But if you're a senator in any one of these states, it's already it's at your front door, man. What are you talking about?
Yes.
It's already there.
Yeah.
If you had a homeless veteran in your state, it's already at your front door. So what are you talking about? It's not at my front. What are you talking about?
Well, we got to make them see us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We got to get visible.
We got to make them see us. And the only way we're going to make them see us is to keep doing what we're doing here today, going out in the community. And then when we see a veteran in trouble, we got to stand up with him.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it means, hey, you got to come on, let's go. You got to go get some help right now.
Yeah.
Because what is happening, we got too many civilians that have bought into the idea that that we are dangerous, and they scatter us. They actually scatter us.
Also in the book, I have, since you said that, I have from A to Z information there with attorneys, my attorney that I personally have, and A to Z on even civilians getting called and get civilian help as well as the military.
Yeah.
So the book, I thank God that He had me, allowed me to be in my right mind to do this book at 2:00 in the morning, and to put the information that I put in there, because people now they're like, hey man, I read your book and wow, I cried, I smiled, I was mad, what can I do?
Right.
See, let me
Magic word. What can I do?
Let me say this in with y'all. The Holy Spirit is in charge, man.
It is.
Oh, yes.
It is.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
is.
we forget sometimes that we do have a helper.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
But you gotta ask, are you about your father's business?
Yeah, we got this helper.
Yeah.
And we're talking about this issue because we know that we got the helper that we need to make a difference in our community.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're doing. One day at a time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One day at a time. And every day we wake up doing the same thing, trying to make a difference.
Because I told myself, I said, I don't care if you Democrat, Republican, or other, I'll stand with you in front of Congress, and I'll help you write some bills so that my family can get their benefits, and it's something they fought for, to make sure that they're not left out in the cold, and they can go ahead and pay their bills and reunite with their families and all that. Because they said, well, Mr. Buller, are you happy? I said, I won't be happy until my family get their benefits and what they need to make it in this world.
Right. Yes.
So, it's been a day, Tony. You need to talk about your project before we go. I'll turn it over to you now.
Well, as you previously said, we're in the process of building a memorial in Piedmont Park to celebrate the lives of the 240 young men who paid the ultimate price. And even though they're listed in Washington, D.C., we want to bring them home.
Yeah.
They deserve to be brought home and celebrated here in their home city. We hope everybody listening to this broadcast and family members support the building of the Vietnam Memorial in Piedmont Park in Atlanta, Georgia.
And share this with people. Share this with everybody who's breathing. They need to hear this.
Yes.
And it's www.sonsofatlanta.org. You can go to the website right now, buy a brick, or you can make a donation. Look at the faces of these young men. Most of them didn't make it to be 21 years old.
Yeah.
This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you to tune in every Saturday. And I got to acknowledge my audience today. Kenny, I've been looking for you. I'm glad to see you all right, but I know you're a workaholic. And Tracy tried to not say anything today, but these are veterans. All of us are veterans. We're just veterans talking to veterans and the community about all things veterans and the community, because we are a community asset. I don't care what nobody else feels about us. I think veterans are the best.
Yes, we are.
Best community assets we have.
Yes.
But we just got to stop being so laid back.
Yeah.
You know, we had to be like we were in the military.
Yeah.
You get to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
There it is.
Dress. Do what you got to do.
Do more by 8 o'clock in the morning.
Before the rest of the world
You better say, you know.
So next week, same time, same place, we're going to be doing the same thing. Going to be in another chapter of Warriors married to his wife and PTSD, though. But we hope that this part about my real, please don't overlook it. Look at the book. Buy the book, read the book, but take time and read it. Listen, read my real, because we got too many relationships that's being destroyed by PTSD.
Yeah. So once again, how can we get this book?
You can go to Amazon. You can go to the New Black Wall Street. I'm in Eldon Bookstore, ELDA Bookstore at the New Black Wall Street. You can go to Curtis Butler III, you know, all lowercase letters. The third is III, lowercase.
Right.
And that's my web link where you can see the video that I sent you. And you hit me up on Facebook, Curtis Butler III. You'll see my book, and you'll see me and Cool from Cool and the Gang, and that's my Facebook page as well.
Okay.
Right. Once again, thank you for being here.
See you next week.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
We're checking out. I guess we're checking out, Tony. Thank you for this day. Thank you, Tracy. I want to see you this week. We got to finish some stuff. Kenny, I got to see you this week too, because we need to finish some stuff. We're always working for veteran benefits. That's all we do.
Yeah.
You know, we ain't ashamed of it either.
Oh no. I sleep, eat this all the time.
You know, we ain't ashamed of it. You know, I like the work I do, and I do the work I like. That's the blessing.
I do this until they put the flag on my coffin.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Guess they're doing what they do. Yes.
Trace, I'm gonna go ahead and sign.